This episode is brought to you by Fox One. Watch all 104 matches of the FIFA World Cup live in 4K for just $19.99 a month with 3 days free. Build your own multi-view, choose up to 3 streams, and follow player spotlights. Stay on top of every moment with live stats, highlights, and instant replays. The FIFA World Cup, streaming live on Fox One. Offers are subject to change. See fox.com for complete terms and conditions.
I wrote a little song to remind you, Choice Hotels get you more of the experiences you value. The Cambria Hotel's got it all. A rooftop bar, have a ball. Bring a date, your squad, or even your mom. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, lots of activity tied to Iran. Just coming out from the White House that they're saying that Iran is going to allow nuclear inspectors, and that will include international representatives as well as the U.S. And that is supposed to be unfettered access to go check out the nuclear materials. So this would be a big breakthrough if indeed they will allow the inspectors. On the surface, you kind of go, okay, that sounds good, but I don't trust anything the Iranians are saying. Actions will only prove the results. No words, just actions. And in the meantime, President Trump says that also the Strait of Hormuz is open for business. We know that about 15 ships came through just in the last day or so. It looks like there is a lot of traffic that's happening. So that's good news. And at least they're talking. Let's see if they can actually bring Iran to the table. Iran saying all the right things. So far, there was no also military action between Israel and Hezbollah for one night. But that's a big breakthrough in the Middle East, especially as someone like me. I've covered the Middle East a long time. That actually is a big deal because it's like all the time they are throwing barbs at each other. And here is President Trump saying that the Strait of Hormuz is working and it's going to go smoothly. Take a listen.
We're doing very well with respect to the Hormuz Strait. We took in more oil yesterday than has ever gone through the strait. You probably see that we have an oil gusher. The strait is totally open. You know that, and we're negotiating. We'll see how that all goes. But we have two things: we have an open strait, and we have a country that will never have a nuclear weapon. Will never, ever have a nuclear weapon.
And President Trump said that is the priority. I hope you all had a great weekend and a good Father's Day. Welcome to the Rita Cosby Show. Well, here is J.D. Vance, the vice president, who really had a marathon session. He flew over to Switzerland, had meetings with the Pakistanis and the Qataris and the Iranians. And he is the one who essentially came out and talked about these inspectors. And again, this could be a big deal if indeed it does happen. Here is the vice president announcing that.
These negotiations that you believe that people are not always acting in good faith. Have things changed over the past 36 hours during your meeting with Iran and the other mediaries?
No, all I mean is, look, whether good faith or bad faith, you can't trust anybody's words. You have to trust what they actually do. Letting in the inspectors is a big deal, but again, we're going to see what they actually let the inspectors do once they're in the country. That's going to continually be a part of our negotiation. So my point is not that I trust or distrust anybody. My point is that I trust actions. And what the president has asked us to do is verify what they're doing, focus less on what they're saying.
And that's a good thing. Because clearly the actions are the only things that matter. They can sit there and talk till everybody's blue in the face. But unless they actually carry it out, I do believe it's different. They know President Trump is going to bomb the heck out of them. And they know that President Trump means it when he says, you better do it or else. It's a little different than, remember Joe Biden saying don't and Barack Obama with a $1.7 billion of cash in the middle of the night. No anytime, anywhere inspections. And here is Bill O'Reilly talking about how this is serious stakes for President Trump, and the message to Iran is also really serious.
There are only two options left for President Trump. Two. They either let the weapons inspectors in to look at the uranium, or he is going to bomb them in a way that is ferocious. There's no other ground. None. He's got to do one or the other. And I'm betting that the mullahs know that.
The mullahs definitely know that. They're watching the news. They're also seeing, hey, if they can keep kind of straggling this out as it gets closer and closer to the midterms. But President Trump is making it clear the priority is no nukes. Even a greater priority than, obviously, the economy in America. He says world freedom's at stake. If he can have both, that's a good thing. Because he's obviously watching gas prices. He's trying to balance the two. But he's not going to walk away from Iran being able to get a nuclear weapon. He says that is non-negotiable. And the Iranians know it. And meantime, speaking of non-negotiable, boy, oh boy, this is a lot that's on the line. Tomorrow night, there are big primaries taking place. And we got some early numbers coming in, and this is for the New York one.
Breaking news.
And tomorrow night, there are a whole bunch of different primaries. You got voters in New York, Maryland, Utah. They're headed for primary elections. And also South Carolina is going to be heading to polls in a runoff election for governor and also for Congress. On the New York front, because a lot of people are looking at it, there are three very extreme progressive candidates that are on the ballot, that are trying to make their way on the ballot. And a lot of people see it as a referendum on the Democratic Socialist of America, the extreme Democratic Socialists of America. If you look at the background of these candidates, they're like abolish ICE. One of them says abolish prisons. One says that nobody should be deported, even violent criminals. Do these people have a screw loose or what? Well, what they do have is the endorsement of Zoran Mandani. Listen to this. This is the mayor of New York.
Your word choice, though, monsters. Do you have any regret? Would you clarify or apologize for that?
So, I was quoting Gramsci, who said that the old world is dying and the new world struggles to be born. Now is the time of monsters. I used the term to describe all those who are preventing the birth of a new world.
The birth of a new world, and his birth of a new world does not include any funding for Israel in any shape or form. AIPAC, which is the big lobby for Israel, and they spend a lot of money on candidates because they want to have people still supporting Israel. And Zoran Mandani sure isn't on the list. That is for sure. He doesn't mince any words. It's pretty incredible. Take a listen to this. This is what he said about AIPAC, the big, powerful Jewish lobby, over the weekend. And here's what he actually said just a few hours ago, because he's rallying. He realizes this big election tomorrow night, and we'll be on live probably when the results are coming in, guys. He sees it as a referendum on getting candidates like-minded to him. In other words, he wants to start a national trend. He firmly believes that if he can get some of these folks in very kind of comfortable blue districts, Democrat districts, it's the beginning of the Democratic Socialist takeover of the Democratic Party. And boy, everything is about hating Israel. Listen to this one.
Some members of the Jewish community, including Democratic Congressman Josh Gottheimer, were alarmed by the language you used at the rally last week, calling AIPAC monsters who move dark money. These are phrases that invoke old anti-Semitic tropes and conspiracy theories. What do you say to those who are concerned that the language you used is dangerous?
Now, I want to be very clear. We're talking about a status quo where children are being killed on a daily basis. More than 1,000 Palestinians have been killed by the Israeli military since the so-called ceasefire. Even an Al Jazeera journalist, Ahmed Wishah, was killed this past Saturday by an Israeli strike. And when I am speaking about AIPAC, I'm speaking about an organization that has been supportive of the status quo, that has fought any attempt to actually deliver safety to people not just in Palestine, but frankly, through much of the region. And it is a status quo for immorality. It is one that I will not accept. And when it comes to the way in which they defend the status quo, oftentimes they defend it through direct contributions, as we are seeing right now in New York 13. Oftentimes they also support the status quo through dark money, by filtering money that would have previously been directly from AIPAC, now through other shell organizations whose identities of their contributors are only made clear after an election. And I think that it is important that when we ask ourselves how such death and destruction is happening overseas, we also name those who allow it to take place.
All right, we're going to go.
I don't know what's crazier, the comments or the people clapping who think that that's an appropriate statement. Everything is anti-Israel, anti-police, anti-law enforcement. It really is shocking. And he was referring to 13, NY13. That is where Daria-Liza Avila Chevalier, who is running in the New York 13 congressional district, she's trying to unseat Adriano Espaillat, who's a more common sense candidate. He's considered pretty far left, but not like her. She's like left-wing loony. So the question is, will she unseat him tomorrow night? He is a 5-term member of Congress. He's head of the Hispanic caucus. And she believes that ICE should be abolished. She believes also police should be abolished. She's talked about deporting nobody, even if you have a criminal record, come one, come all. That sounds like a really wonderful group. And yet, she is doing decent in the polls. We'll have to see what happens tomorrow night. Some new numbers just came in, by the way, showing that early voting is so-so in New York. So it may not have the same sort of galvanized response that like when Zora Mandani was running last year in the primary. But in this particular one, it's showing not a lot of Democrats are casting their ballots, and only 11% of voters under the age of 30, which are a lot of them Democratic Socialists, as you can imagine. Just take a look at all the college campuses, are under the age of 30 of the voters. That's only 11%. That's not that much. And Brooklyn apparently has the highest percentage turnout of all the boroughs. 65% of the early votes are from there. So we'll have to see what happens tomorrow night. We're going to be going through this together. The other big race, there's a couple of them. There's obviously the NY13. There's also another district with NY7. And then you got New York 10. Now, New York 10 is Brad Lander, and he's going up against Congressman Dan Goldman, who's an incumbent. I've seen Dan Goldman through the years. He blasts Trump. He was one of the impeachment managers against President Trump. This is one of these guys who on any given day you go, God, that guy is a left-wing loony. But guess what? He's not left enough for the Democratic Socialist. That's why that's pretty scary. He is not left enough. And in fact, they clearly don't like that he's Jewish. I mean, this is really disgusting. What's happening? Some of the barbs against him saying, oh, he takes money from AIPAC. That's like the big boogeyman, as you just heard from Zora Mandani. And so Mandani is supporting his opponent, just like he's supporting Chevalier and he's supporting the other Democratic Socialist. Brad Lander, in this case, is who is getting his support, even though he's a former DSA, but he's far left. And we'll get into that because he got arrested outside of the immigration court. Remember, he was screaming like a madman. Well, get this. This is really frightening. Just came out that a coffee shop has decided that pro-Israel congressman and Jewish congressman Dan Goldman, that they don't want his money. He went and bought a cup of coffee at this Brooklyn location. It's called Poetica Coffee. And they suddenly issued him a refund for $9.82. You can't make it up. They put a very nasty post on Facebook on Sunday with a picture of Goldman. And it gets worse. Listen to this. They wrote publicly, "Hey, Congressman Dan Goldman, we see that you stopped by our shop today for coffee. Did you see how it doesn't taste like genocide juice? Or are you still having a hard time telling the difference? See here, we don't serve racists, fascists, homophobes, genocide enablers, or anyone in between. Too bad we didn't recognize you right away, or we would have turned you away. So instead, we issued you a refund. We don't need your money. It's probably from AIPAC anyway. Don't ever come to Poetica Coffee Shop." How disgusting is that they brazenly put that out, no remorse, no repentance, that this now anti-Semitic coffee shop is going around bragging how they don't want money from somebody who is Jewish and supports Jewish causes. Boy, have we really hit rock bottom. We're going to take your calls when we come back here, 1-800-848-9222. And you're listening to The Rita Cosby Show.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Need a laptop that's built to perform and designed to last all day? Select Windows 11 PCs starting at $499.99 are now at Best Buy. Learn more at bestbuy.com. Best Buy. Imagine that.
Suffering from dry, tired, irritated eyes? Don't let dry eyes win. Use Sustain Pro. It hydrates, restores, and protects dry eyes for up to 12 hours. Sustain Pro. Triple action dry eye relief.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
It's the Rita Cosby Show.
Clive Davis, 94 years old. Clive Davis, the iconic music producer, passed away today at the age of 94. Kid from Brooklyn who made superstars out of Whitney Houston, Springsteen, Barry Manilow, Billy Joel, Carlos Santana, and the list goes on and on. I met Clive a whole bunch of times. He was always great, always gracious, and you could just tell, love what he did. And boy, did he bring so much joy to us. I can't think of another music producer, maybe Berry Gordy, who also is in that same league. But what a superstar Clive Davis was. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Al in Yonkers on line 3. Go ahead, Al.
Yeah, hi, Rita. Thanks so much. Yeah, Rita, tomorrow night, unfortunately, I think that the 3 active races that Mayor Mondami got involved in, I personally think 2 of the people he is supporting will win.
Which ones?
I do think Bruce Lander will win.
Yeah, Brad Lander, yep.
Yeah, Goldman is in big trouble. The latest poll shows him getting trounced.
Yes, I saw that. 30 points, by the way.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if I think it's going to be tighter than that, but that is like a stunning number. Do me a favor, Al. Will you stick with us? We just got to go to a quick break because I want to get your assessment because you're right. There are these 3 biggies. You got Brad Lander, and then you have 2 active Democratic Socialists who, to me, are crazier than the next. And they almost make Mondani look normal. We'll get back to that right after the break.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Looking for a protein shake that tastes as good as it performs? Meet Rockin' Protein Max. Packed with 50 grams of fuel, it'll help you keep up when your day won't slow down. And because it's always creamy and never chalky, every sip tastes great. Even better, it's lactose-free and has 0 added sugar. It's not every day you find a protein shake you actually want to finish. Catch Rockin' Protein in the Dairy Cooler at a store near you. Rockin' Protein and Shamrock Farms are registered trademarks of Shamrock Foods Company.
Spotify, it's Jay Shetty. Are you one of those media strategy people? Scrolling through spreadsheets, searching for an audience that pays twice as much attention to your ads than they do on social? Let me introduce you to Fans. And they're here with me on Spotify. Trust me, I know Fans. They don't skip, they stay for hours. They don't move on, they manifest. They're not a demographic group, they're fans.
Spotify advertising. You're among fans.
Rita Cosby is on. The Rita Cosby Show presents Back the Blue.
And we're going to get to your calls in a moment. But first, this Back the Blue segment coming from Bossier City, Louisiana, where Oklahoma Police Sergeant Joe Williams was visiting Northwest Louisiana and is now being credited with rescuing a woman trapped inside a vehicle during a severe flood. Sergeant Williams and his family had just finished lunch and they were returning to their hotel when they came across a vehicle submerged beneath an underpass. Everybody was just turning around and didn't stop. So Williams spotted that there was a woman frantically screaming and trapped inside the vehicle. He immediately got out of his own vehicle. He entered the water and, despite very dangerous conditions, rushed over to her. He said, "I didn't think twice. Was it crazy for me to do? Yeah, the water was up to my neck." And using his law enforcement training, Williams helped to get the woman out of the vehicle and then guide her to safety. He said his personal philosophy of serving others guided his decision to help and do it immediately without hesitation. He said, "God has given me a life to serve other people, no matter where I'm at," he said. "You can be a beam of light in someone's chaos to flip their day 180 degrees. And that woman had very minor injuries and is thankful to be alive thanks to that great officer who happened to be there with his family and is always on duty, whether on or off the clock. And bravo to our great men and women in blue. 1-800-848-9222. And you're listening to The Rita Cosby Show. Let's go back to Al in Yonkers on line 3. So, Al, we left it off. We were first. There's these 3 races tomorrow. And boy, oh boy, I sadly think you're right. I actually think it might even be 3 for 3. We'll see. But let's first start with the one that we left off at. And that is, of course, that's the Brad Lander, Dan Goldman race. Now, Brad Lander, this is the guy who was like screaming outside the immigration court. And he looked like a lunatic at the time, and was just shouting and screaming all these vile things, at law enforcement. I mean, it was just really, really horrible. And in fact, let me play this. This is cut 34. This is Brad Lander, just to give everybody a flavor of this guy who is on the ticket. He's trying to get rid of Dan Goldman, who has really been anti-Trump and pretty far left. He's not far left enough, Al. That's what's so scary.
Yeah, exactly. He's been a real Trump critic.
He sure has. And Brad Lander's even worse. Listen to this guy. This is the outside the press conference. This was a little bit ago.
What we're seeing, as the congressman says, is on the streets of Chicago and Los Angeles, people who don't present a judicial warrant, who don't identify themselves, who give no reason for you to believe they're actually law enforcement agents or that they have any lawful grounds, and far too many times captured on video, the people they have grabbed have been U.S. citizens, have been lawful permanent residents, or have been the wrong person. And that we've seen in this building time and time again. There's no lawful basis for the vast majority of abductions taking place in this building, even when they grab the person who is on their list. They still are not presenting judicial warrants. They're giving no lawful basis for the abduction. They're not identifying themselves. The abductions in this building are lawful. But if you've been in here long enough, you've seen times when they've grabbed the wrong person. It happened Wednesday of last week. They grabbed a guy and started to arrest a guy named Manuel. And in that case, we were able to clarify he wasn't the person on the list and he walked out. But there have been many times when they have done it. Those are illegal abductions. And if they are conducted on the streets of our city, then it is absolutely, as the congressman says, the case that the NYPD should protect New Yorkers and not allow them to be kidnapped by masked individuals who give no indication of who they are and who present no warrants, especially when they are lawful permanent residents or U.S. citizens. But I believe even in cases where they just have no lawful basis for the abduction that is taking place.
And here's when he got arrested. Here's a little bit of sound. This is when he got arrested. He was on the, I think it's the 10th floor of Federal Plaza there in New York. The big sit-in that he was a part of.
Led by a fascist president. I'm here because ICE should be out of New York. I am here to ensure that we protect all our fellow constituents. It is not illegal to be undocumented. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Aquí estamos y no nos vamos. Y estamos y no nos vamos.
There is we shouldn't be here. They're masked men just plopping people off the streets. I mean, this is it's lunacy, Al. And yet, to your point, I think it's an Emerson poll, I believe, that has him 30 points over Dan Goldman. And then, did you hear the story about the Jewish? I don't know if you were at the top there, Al, where this coffee shop, Poetica Coffee Shop, unapologetically put something out and says that we didn't want to serve Dan Goldman essentially because he supports Jewish causes. Here's your money back. Is it genocide juice that you were getting? I mean, this is disgusting, Al. Really shocking.
It really is. And Goldman has really not been at the forefront of Jewish causes, being that he's Jewish. So that's even more disturbing. And getting back to Bruce Lander, when he made that during the mayoral primary, when he went to that demonstration and got arrested, it gave him a little bit of a bump in the poll, in the Democratic primary poll for mayor at the time. But what he did is he was able to make a coalition with Mondani in the voting, the way they vote now.
Yeah, the ranked choice. Exactly.
Yeah, the ranked choice. So Mondani is paying him back with this endorsement.
100%. He essentially, in fact, they made a deal, which is why this ranked choice stuff is so crazy. And we're seeing it in a lot of elections around this country. But they made a deal like, okay, pick Mondani for your second choice. And a number of them did it, which skewed it all. If you pick me, but if you're not going to pick me, regardless, make sure you pick him either first or second. And then you're right. This is exactly what you're saying. This is payback time now. And that's really frightening because it's
really
total
is.
pact. And then you got this woman, Valdez. This is New York 7. And boy, I mean, she is just all over the place. She is anti-ICE, anti-Israel, anti-police. She wants no military aid. And she's accusing her opponent in this particular case of not being anti-Israel enough. You can't make it up.
Who's she running against now? Is that for Velasquez's seat or for Upper Washington Heights and Inwood? Espia? Which one is that?
Yeah, I got to find it out. It's Claire Valdez. Let's see. I think it's a number of them. I think there's a couple of them in that race.
Yes, I think she's possibly running for Velasquez. She's the long-term Brooklyn congresswoman. But Upper Manhattan, you have the congressman, the Dominican-American Espia.
Yeah, and that's the other race. Now, that's the other one, too. That one in particular, that one is with Chevalier. And you're right, he's the five-time guy. And he's been, a moderate, but he also endorsed Mondani. And what does Mondani do? Pays him back with now he's going up against him because the woman who's going up against him is much more, loony-kazoony, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, it should be a formidable race, but I personally think he survives. The reason is because he's moved up the ranks. He was an assemblyman, a state senate. He really has a big base up in Washington Heights. The Dominican Americans really look up to him.
Now, she's Dominican, though. Did you know that? She's also Dominican. His challenger is also Dominican. So that kind of makes it a little interesting, too.
It does, but he's been around a long time. I mean, he's fought hard for the people up in Washington Heights and Inwood. He's took on, when he was assemblyman, the last of the Irish politicians in Inwood. He fought against the African-American black establishment when he took on Charles Rangel, and then he beat Ken Wright in a hard-fought race for that congressional seat. So, I mean, I think he's really got a big base up there, and I think he'll be able to beat her tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's going to be a tight one, but I think there's I don't know. I'm worried regardless because it's a disturbing trend. By the way, I want to make sure because I did think it was Reynoso, and you're correct. It is Reynoso who is running in that. That's against Valdez in New York's 7th Congressional.
Yes.
It's the Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso who's doing a major canvassing tonight, like door to door to door, knocking on doors everywhere. Because he sees, he sees a big machine. Yeah, you think he's going to lose?
Yes.
Yeah, the polls are showing it's that one could be a little bit tighter than the other, but oh my God! I mean, you know what I think about? I think about during all the Mondani stuff. It was like, there were a lot of people who said, "Oh, this guy's not going to win," and I said, "He's going to win because they have a machine." Yeah. And there's a lot of money on this, and they've come out and said that this is sort of I guess if you will, a barometer for Zoran Mondani. Right. So they're watching that too, and they know there's a lot at stake.
Definitely. And, having a sitting mayor, I mean, you have a lot at your dispense. So, the mayor could provide a lot. That endorsement means so much. And he's so popular in Brooklyn. His numbers were huge in the general election and the primary. So that really helps the two candidates, Lander and the one we just touched on.
And Valdez.
Yes.
And by the way, Chevalier, that's the one who was running against obviously, Adriano Espaillat. Yes, exactly. The veteran there. I'm thinking of some of the things she said. I think it was 2019. She said that she wiped her hands with the American flag. So this is just appalling. She even called Biden a war criminal. She blasted Kamala Harris. She apologized for what she said to Biden and Harris, but didn't apologize about abolish ICE, about police, about wiping her hands with the flag. So she means it. In other words,
that's right.
Al,
she really does.
Al, you got to call tomorrow night after when the results come in. We'll be live, I think, when they're coming in.
Thanks a lot, Rita. Have a great night.
Pray for New York, Al. Thank you very much. Let's go to Michael in New Jersey, line 4. Go ahead, Michael. Hey, Michael, are you there? Let's go to Taylor in New Jersey, line 5. Go ahead, Taylor.
Which body of water do you think President Trump will get over? The Hormuz or the reflecting pool?
Why are you so absorbed with the reflecting pool, Taylor? Because obviously your real name isn't Taylor, but why are you so caught up in the reflecting pool?
Because it shows perfectly what an idiot Trump is. Everything he touches, he wrecks. He doesn't know what he's doing. He gets corrupt people involved who don't know what they're doing either. And he totally wastes our money for millions on a no-bid contract. Thanks, Donnie.
All right. So here it is. Taylor, you don't even use your real name because I guess you're not comfortable to stand by your own opinions. It seems like you've had Trump derangement syndrome for a long time. Maybe you should call back when you give your real name, and that would be refreshing. So if you do that, I'm always happy to hear from you. I love hearing from all sides, and you guys know it. Let's go to Stan. In fact, on line 1, speaking of all sides, Stan, go ahead.
That's my real name.
Yeah, by the way, I know. And Stan, we love you because you stand by your opinion. What do you think of the coward who uses his fake name all the time?
By the way, you take calls from a guy who's anti-Semitic. He uses 4 different names. I hear his voice all the time, and you still don't recognize him. But that's okay. I know who he is.
I think I have an idea. Wait, go ahead. I think.
All right, anyway.
Yep, I think I have an idea.
All right, but let's talk about. I voted Friday. Rita, there is nobody coming out to this election. I have seen There were more people there. I don't think, and I'm a Democrat. I voted for Grace Ming. I'm a liberal. I'm not progressive. Nobody's coming out. There were more people working there than voted.
And why do you think that is?
I was the only one. I was in Forest Hills near the courthouse.
Oh, that's interesting. Why do you think that is, Stan? Because you're right. The numbers are showing that.
Summer and people want to take vacation. They don't care about politics. I do hope, as you said, the election's tomorrow, and I do hope people will come out. In fact, Grace Ming was at our center today, and I said to her, speak to these people to get them to come out to vote. But she had to leave. I said, talk to them. Please tell them vote. And they're mostly your seniors, but she didn't say anything, which I hope she'll win. I think she'll win, but who knows? I mean, I think I don't want socialists to win. One last quick thing. On all the ballots, there is nothing in the nothing that says what you are, like a Democratic, liberal, socialist. It's just your name. They used to have that on. Is that right, Rita? You used to see it on all the Republican or Democrat, the Republican, conservative, liberal. Am I right?
Yeah, you would see the party line. Usually
right.
You typically, that is interesting.
There is none on there at all. You don't know it's just names, but you have to know yourself who you're voting with. It's a conservative or liberal. There was none of that on the paper, but I voted for Grace Ming, who has been a great congressman for the area, and who knows? But I did not see it. You could be voting for a socialist and you wouldn't know it.
Exactly. And it's a very scary socialist. You know, it's interesting. I was looking at some of the breakdown right before the show, too, Stan, that it is lower, the number. There were 9 days of voting. Early voting, and only 172,000. That's 40.
Low.
That's low. Yep, exactly. Yeah. It's less than half of what came out for the Mamdani. And this was interesting that 11% of the voters are under the age of 30. So
that means more the socialist, I think, right?
Well, I think it hurts the socialists because a lot of okay. I think so, because I think a lot of the young people are the ones who are voting for the socialists. So that could be, but then maybe it's early voting and they'll come out on election day.
Tomorrow's the primary, correct?
Yep.
Tomorrow?
So we'll know tomorrow night.
Get people to come out. Please come out. Everybody, come out and vote. Absolutely.
Exactly. And make sure you don't pick a socialist. That's all I got to say.
You can't tell. It's not on the line. You can't tell who you're voting for unless you've heard them before.
Exactly, which is why, Stan, you brought up a great point. You got to get educated. You got to get aware. Stan, thank you. That's really interesting. And everybody, make sure you know the names before you go in there. Stan makes some good point. You don't want to just pick somebody because you go, oh, that's an interesting name. Some of them are Democratic Socialist wackos. 1-800-848-9222. And everybody, I'll continue with your calls when we come back here on The Rita Cosby Show.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Faraday presenta Ojos con Alergia y Picazón contra el jardinero. Y el ganador es Faraday Extra Fuerte. Para aliviar la picazón de los ojos por alergia, actúa más rápido y supera a Claritin y Flonase aún a las 24 horas. Faraday, adelante.
A burst pipe. A dead water heater. The AC calling it quits. Who do you call? HomeServe is an easy way to handle unexpected home repairs with plans covering stuff basic homeowners insurance usually won't. Instead of scrambling for a contractor, you make one call to get the repair process started. Join the millions of customers who trust HomeServe right now. Go to homeserve.com/podcast for 50% less your first year. That's homeserve.com/podcast. Savings compared to renewal price, void in Florida.
This is the Rita Cosby Show.
So President Trump's progress against Iran is getting mixed reviews. We'll talk about that. I want to hear your take on where you think this is headed. And do you think it's inevitable that there will probably be more military strikes against Iran? I sadly think so, because I have zero faith in Iran. I have faith in President Trump. But these Democrats also who are sitting there saying, oh, this is just like Obama. It's not. It's not just like Obama. President Trump is backing it up with military action. That is a whole different ball game. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. And you are listening to The Rita Cosby Show. Let's go to Joel in Manhattan. In the meantime, go ahead, Joel. Your thoughts tonight.
Hi, Rita. A couple things. First off, as far as Iran goes, I think they're going to get pounded again because they're going to cross the line, and it's going to happen, and they'll get pounded in submission. And I won't be weeping any tears of that.
I won't either. I agree with you.
Yeah, but here's what I wanted to call about it, and that is the primaries tomorrow. I am a Dino, in other words, a Democrat in name only. And the only reason I'm that is because the only power that you have in this town when you're at the voters' booth, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm trying to figure out strategically the candidate to vote for that either A, would be more palpable, or B, have a chance to be defeated by another group, either independent or possibly a Republican. And I'm down to two possibilities. The defeat would be if Schlossberg is the winner, but he's way down. He's like 10 points down compared to what Boras and Lasher are at. And I'm really not thrilled about Lasher because Nadler endorsed him, and I can't stand the idea of these career politicians being in there forever. So that leaves me holding my nose a bit from going for maybe Alex Boras. What's your take?
Well, no, that's an interesting point. I mean, there are a lot of layers to this, and I feel like you said you're a Democrat in name only, so it's a hard one. There's not really a perfect candidate in that entire race. And as you brought up, there are a number of different kind of players in that race. Some of them have made some crazy comments. I think you just got to hold your nose and figure out. I think you kind of gave the right answer, but I'm not going to tell you how to vote.
Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?